nice experience this morning. You guys, your music is amazing. It is so amazing. When I did a guest speaking spot here last November, and who was doing music that day but Heart Dream, right? It was so cool. They have a new CD out, and they do have their CDs available for us after service. Okay. Well, my talk today is called Spiritual Alchemy. And if you've heard of alchemy, I don't know about you, but when I first heard of alchemy, I thought of the stories of the wizards up in their towers mixing their little potions, right? But alchemy is actually a transmutation of one substance into another substance. And so it's like the substance changes into a completely different thing. We hear like the stories of lead to gold. But the story of Rumpelstiltskin is actually about alchemy. Rumpelstiltskin changed straw into gold. He didn't add anything to it or take away something from its molecular composition. He actually changed the molecular composition. Now, the ancient alchemist, there is actually a father of alchemy, and his name was Hermes Trismegistus, and he lived in ancient Egypt. But as time went on and Egypt became more modern, he became the god Thoth. Then he became the Greek god Hermes. And it is Hermes who is credited with ancient alchemy, but not turning lead into gold. It was about the mastery of the mental forces, right? The mental forces. The transmutation of one level of consciousness into another. Or as we like to say here at Unity, change your thinking and you change your life. But it's part of Unity, of the foundation of Unity, right? To change your thinking, change your life. But see, what we're saying, what we're meaning when we say change your thinking and you change your life is change your consciousness and then your life changes. Okay, that's what that means. And that's what spiritual alchemy is. It's about us expanding our consciousness because that is our purpose. To keep expanding our consciousness because we're always in a state of becoming. Growing into that next brightest version of ourselves. That's what the soul is doing, and that is what spirit does. Now, the Unity definition of consciousness is that it's a sense of awareness or an understanding where we really embody something. And all of these ideas and these beliefs are held in our conscious mind, in our subconscious mind, and in the superconscious mind. And all of these ideas and these beliefs, they govern our experience of life, whether they are true or not. So our belief system does not even have to be true, but we will experience it as true because it's in our consciousness. Now, this is why you could have two people, and maybe these two people even grew up in the same family, and they both went to the same college. But one of these people has this feeling of, I'm not good enough. But the other one has this feeling of, wow, I could do anything I set my mind to. And let's say that they both go off to college, and let's even say it's an Ivy League college, and they get great grades. They get out of school, they graduate, right, with honors. They go get their first job. And yet, the person who has the belief of, I'm not good enough, might experience that first day at their new job. And maybe nobody else there comes up and talks to them, nobody makes friends, and in their consciousness they're thinking, oh, they know I'm a fraud, they know I don't belong here, right? It's going to be hard to work here. Or the other person who has the consciousness of, I can do anything I set my mind to, maybe looking around at all those people who aren't talking to them and think, well, they're checking out the new guy. They're checking out like all this that's going on, man. They have to decide right now if they have to worry about me or not. Okay? All from two states of consciousness. They don't even have to be true. So we change our consciousness, and this is how we change our life. But see, changing our consciousness is really about accepting a new idea. We get this new idea, we accept it into our belief system so that we are feeling it and we are embodying it. We have to incorporate it into how we live our life every day. We cannot change our life out here. We have to be able to change our life in here first. Now, we can temporarily make changes out here. Temporarily. You've all heard of like people who go on diets and lose a huge amount of weight, but then when they're done with the diet, they gain all the weight back, right? Years ago, I knew this guy who went on the Loma Linda diet. Who here knows about the Loma Linda diet? It's cabbage soup. Phyllis, you made some one time for me, like a real delicious version of it. It's cabbage, tomato, garlic, onion, you can make it in chicken stock. It's really good if you add Italian sausage, but if you're a vegan, don't do that. But apparently it's it's from the rumor mill that it's from Loma Linda. I don't know if it is or not. But this guy went on this diet. That's all he ate all day long was this soup. And he lost so much weight. And then after he lost all the weight, he went back to eating the way he ate before. And then he's like, yeah, the Loma Linda diet didn't help me keep the weight off. Because you didn't stay on it. Or even incorporate just one bowl of soup a day. You're eating McDonald's again. We cannot, if we're just temporarily changing things out here, but we're not changing it in our consciousness, we will not be able to maintain the changes out here. And like I had one of those moments this morning. I was getting ready to come down here today, and I put on a dress. And the dress was too baggy, because I've been doing really good with my sugar-free, flour-free. And I was like, okay, but I love this dress. Well, maybe I'll hang on to it just in case, like I need a bigger dress. And then I was like, that is not the consciousness I want, right? And so, like I've been getting rid of a bunch of other clothes, but that one dress snuck in there to show me my consciousness is still not fully prepared to what's at the end of this game, right? Of me being sugar-free, flour-free. So I found some clothes that fit. So I'm dressed, I'm here. And man, it gave me a lot to think about. See, this is something that the ancient alchemists, they knew this. We have to change our thoughts and our consciousness first, or life out here will go back to the way that it was before. If we only change something out there, we will only temporarily experience the abundance, the wealth, health, happiness, the relief, whatever it is. But then life will go back to the way it is. You've heard the story about the lotto winners who win millions of dollars. But within a period of years, they blow through all the money and end up back where they were before they won the lottery. And it's because they didn't change their consciousness to match that next biggest thing, right? All that money. They stayed in their smaller consciousness. We are meant to keep expanding our consciousness to include new things in our life. We're meant to live that way, right? But all the change happens in here first, because we're not actually acquiring things. We're not acquiring the new life experience. We're becoming the new life experience, right? We become. So if a person wants to start including more love in their life, they have to be more loving first, right? Somebody who's really horrible and treats people terribly, they'll have to keep finding new people who don't know them to come into their life, right? Because they're not being love. If we want to have better health, we have to be that better health by doing the kind things for our body, right? Maybe changing our diet or doing some kind of stretching or something. All right, so we have to change in here first. We have to become what it is that we want to include in our life. So in spiritual alchemy, we change our thinking to change our consciousness, and that lets us accept a brand new idea about health, wealth, happiness, whatever that is, something that we haven't done before, that we want to start doing now, that we want to start living. And when we start expanding our consciousness, we are doing things differently. When we do things differently, our life looks different. We will have a new expanded perception of things. We will have new opportunities present themselves that we didn't notice before, all because we are expanding our consciousness. And this is spiritual alchemy. It's also called conscious co-creating. Consciously co-creating means we pay attention to our thoughts and our behaviors. That's conscious co-creating. Well, I just like spiritual alchemy. I think it sounds cool, so that's what I said. But see, one thing, when we're going to be a conscious co-creator, we want to recognize something, and that something is that everything is God. All is divine mind. All is source energy. Wallace Wattles said in The Science of Getting Rich, everything you see on earth is made from one original substance, and out of which all things proceed. That one original substance is God. It's source energy. It is divine mind. It's life with a capital L. Okay, that's where everything comes from, this original substance. Now, because everything is made from this substance, that again, it means we are also made from that substance. We are created in the image and the likeness of our Creator. If we are created in the image and the likeness of our Creator, we're just a micro version. We're the tiny version. Okay, as our Creator creates in the whole, that is how we create in our life. And we do that through intention and activity. Intention and activity. And it's source, then, it's God that is transmuting that substance through us, for us. Through us and for us. We transmute our consciousness, and what that might look like is we go from feeling doubt, like, oh, will this really work? I don't know. Somebody else could probably do this, but I don't know if I could. We accept a new idea first. We take that new idea. What's the idea we want to embody? Well, I want to have faith. Well, if I'm created in the image and likeness of Source, and God's working through me, for me, as me, and I am the activity of God in this world, I'm the heart and the hands and the feet and the voice and the ears and the eyes of God in this world, and I'm created like my Creator, well, then I have faith that I can do this, because why would I have even gotten the idea to do something in the first place? Where'd the idea come from if everything is God? That's how we start changing our consciousness. Now, the other really amazing thing is, because everything is source energy, that means every single possibility for a happy change in our life, it's all somewhere out here. Like, we're changing what's in here, but because God is everywhere present and can express through any situation, person, or event, then the answers, the new things that we're going to do can come through other people, right? Come through somebody else's ideas, but they are here then, because God is everywhere present. Because God is in every person in this room. So we change what's in here, we just change what's out here. Wayne Dyer said something that gave me one of those moments. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Now, this is how we change our consciousness. Okay, if we're looking at something and we see a problem, well, that's what we're focused on, right? Is the problem. And a problem is limitation. So we change that thinking. It's like, well, wait, God is everywhere present. There are no limitations on God. God is unlimited and infinite. How would God express through this problem? We change the way we look at things. Okay, that may be a problem, but God is everywhere present. And then the things we look at change. Source also has many expressions, many qualities, and many appearances. And one of these qualities of Source, of God, is that it is constantly giving itself to its creations. And you are its creation. You, me. We are its creation. Right now, God is giving itself to you. It's right there. It's available. It's consistent and it is constant. God is giving itself to you. It is like walking into a home full of electricity, right? Wired for electricity. You could go home tonight, and say you get home at 10 o'clock because you just had such a busy, great day. You walk in the door and you think, I would like light. So you turn on a light switch. And then you think, I'm hungry. I didn't get dinner. So I'm going to fire up my oven, and I'm going to, say it's an electric oven, let's just say. You turn on your oven because you're going to make yourself a cauliflower pizza, which is like tasty. You should try it. I'm serious. Like, it's some serious goodness there. And then you think, yeah, I'm going to do some laundry, and then I'm going to watch a movie. Electricity can do all of that for you. You get to choose. You get to choose. But see, you could also go home and walk in your front door, and it's late, and it's dark, and you could think, man, I wish it was light in here. Well, my neighbors have light. Why do my neighbors always have light, and I don't have any light? And I think they're eating pizza. I think they're eating pizza over there, man. Why do my neighbors get pizza? And I bet they're watching a movie and doing their laundry. And here I am in this big old house. It's all dark. Right? The electricity is still there and available. But it's up to us to say yes to that electricity. It's up to us to say yes. Ernest Holmes calls this particular quality of spirit love, because he says it's unconditional. It gives of itself constantly without judgment, which means you can do whatever you want to with this substance. Right? You don't have to go out into the world and spread more light. You go out there and be a villain. Right? I mean, you're not going to be doing the best for you or the planet, but we still get to do whatever we want to with this energy. Bob Proctor said in the movie The Secret something that always stuck with me. He says, electricity, you can cook a man his dinner, or you can cook the man. Right? It's what we do with electricity. Electricity is always available. What are we doing with it? Now, as an alchemist, we are consciously we use this substance to create a life we love. And we consciously use this substance by reminding ourselves, God is everywhere present. I am an emanation of God. I'm the activity of God in this world, walking around right here and right now. And God is working through me, for me, as me. And God is in my ideas and in my inspirations and in the synchronicity and in my new perception and opportunities. Okay, that's where we start. Then we accept that new idea. What do we want to do a little differently? How do we want to expand our consciousness a little differently? So we are accepting that new idea that allows us to be greater. And then our intentions change, and our choices change, and our actions change. Right? We are creating a brand new experience because of that. All just by recognizing our oneness with Source. We recognize our oneness with Source. We should call that the recognition zone. That came from here, today, Unity of Ukaipa. The other thing a conscious co-creator does, or a spiritual alchemist does, is they stop resisting life. They don't resist what's happening out here. They accept things as they are right here and right now, because it is how it is right here and right now. But if we're resisting life, we don't get the opportunity to decide, well, is this something I can change, or is this something I have to rise above? If we're resisting life, we just get stuck in the problem, is what we do. We just get stuck struggling against it. Now, if we're struggling out here because we're focused on a problem, we're not in the recognition zone. Okay, so we're forgetting our own divine nature, what works through us, for us, as us. We're focused on this problem, and we will tend to do the same thing over and over and expect different results. Right? That's the loop we get stuck in. Because when we're stuck out here in a problem, we are missing out on the divine gifts that come through our life for us. We won't see them. We just won't have awareness of them. They're there, but we won't have awareness of them. Remember, it's our perception of life. It's how much we're focused on the problem. Our perception of life, it doesn't even have to be a true problem, okay, or true stories, or true beliefs, but we're still going to experience it. And that could be very limiting for us. So when resistance is when we focus on what's out here and fret about what's out here and get all caught in the problem. Growth is when we focus here. Okay, we focus here. And that's what helps us to change the way we look at things, so the things we look at change. Now, when we move out of resistance, something really remarkable happens, and that is we get so much smarter. We get so much smarter because we're getting so much clarity, because we have just opened the way for Spirit to work through us and into our life. That is what happens when we stop resisting. I know you all have heard the Serenity Prayer, and I'm going to read just the first 3 lines from that. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Now, this is a really powerful prayer for us. And Christ actually laid out like a foundational prayer, like a foundational way to do things so that we can change our experience. And what Christ said was, anything we ask in prayer, believing, we'll receive. Okay, so in prayer means being in the recognition zone, being in communion with God, being in that place where we are feeling the truth of God is everywhere present. That means I'm an emanation of that. And I create in my life as God creates in the whole. That force that put the universe into its spin and put divine programming in that little acorn to grow into a mighty oak tree also was working in me. There is divine programming in me. So that's being in prayer. We want to be in that space before we ask for something. Okay, not in the desperation zone. That we know that doesn't work out, right? Something happens out here. Oh my God, dear God, please, if you just do this, then I will, blah, 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 blah. We don't open ourselves up to receive inspiration when we do that because that's the desperation zone. We're focused on the problem. We want to get into the recognition zone, okay? So we ask anything while we're in this space and believe it. And you know, it is amazing what you can believe when you are in this space. I promise, if you practice this, I promise you, you will believe stuff that you thought, man, I never thought I'd get this. Okay, but I practice it, and it was kind of hard to get started, but worthwhile things take practice. Okay, so we practice that. So we're in communion when we're praying. That's what we're doing. So in this prayer, the Serenity Prayer, we ask for serenity, courage, and wisdom. Now that is what a conscious co-creator does. That is what the spiritual alchemist does. They ask in communion, in prayer, for serenity, courage, wisdom, because when we ask for serenity, we are given the peace to be open to those possibilities that will start presenting themselves to us, to be open to the divine gifts that are always available to us. In the space, we ask for courage, because when we are expanding our consciousness and we are in the state of becoming the next brightest version of ourselves, we're going to have to do things differently. And it can be tempting to think, oh, that might be hard. I don't know if I could do that. So we get in this space, we ask for courage, because I promise you, you will have to do something bigger. You're going to have to step out of that comfort zone, step out of what you're used to, but you know what? The courage will let you do that. And having courage, you'll also be filled, you will have the enthusiasm for that too. It'll feel good when you do it. And then right here, we also ask for wisdom, because to change our life, it means we're changing what's in here first. We're changing what's in here first. It can be so tempting to think, oh, if I could just make this person go to counseling, right? I saw that on a movie recently. It's like, this guy finds a therapist and he's like, well, I'm going to send my wife to you because she's the one with the problem. That it's tempting to want to do that, right? To fix what's out here so we don't have to do the inner work, right? But when we're here, we ask for the wisdom, okay, because that's where the change needs to happen. So these three things, serenity, courage, and wisdom, what they do then for us is they expand our inner resourcefulness. This is what allows us to move forward with those bright ideas, inner resourcefulness. Now see, everything in our experience, it can be changed, or we can rise above it. But we need the consciousness that supports that. Okay? You've all heard the story of Helen Keller, right? Helen Keller, blind and deaf. Her teacher, Annie, had to teach her how to have the consciousness to navigate life without sight and without hearing. But she had to embody that consciousness a little bit at a time. And Helen Keller went on to be a spiritual teacher. Like she would go around the whole world giving talks. Right? She had a very deep spiritual connection. So we change what we can change. Not everything can be changed. So we learn to rise above that and navigate in a different way. In August, it's going to be like 100 some odd degrees, and it's going to be steamy outside. There's nothing we can do about that. But we can navigate our summer differently. We can go to Canada for 3 months. I'm not though, but go to the movie theater, run the air conditioning in your home. I mean, there's so many other ways that we can navigate the thing we can't change. We all have something in our life, and it can be changed. But we also all have something in our life that cannot be changed. And so we have to just learn to navigate differently. Both of those allow us to grow. They both do. Remember, the nature of spirit, the nature of our soul, is one of becoming, expanding into the next brightest version of ourselves. So when we change our thoughts, we change our consciousness, and we do things differently. We feel differently. We respond differently. Our perception changes. When our consciousness expands, we become a new person. See, really the only thing ever in our way is our belief that something can be in our way. Okay? God is bigger than anything in its way. Say that with me. God is bigger than anything in its way. Ernest Holmes said, "Prepare your mind to receive the best that life has to offer. We are all thinking, willing, knowing, conscious centers in life. We are surrounded by, immersed in, and there's flowing through us and I love how he puts this, a creative something. Call it what you will. A creative something." He's talking about God. He's talking about God, how God works through us, for us, as us. So we prepare our mind to receive the very best that life has to offer. We want to know what that new idea is that we want to embody. What is the new idea we want to put into our consciousness so that we're growing, we're expanding? I am abundant. I am vibrant. I am excited about creating new things. I like this one. I am designed for growth and goodness. I love that. I am designed for growth and goodness. When we get that one down, right, we can cover a lot of ground with just that. I am designed for growth and goodness. Now we have to practice this. We have to practice getting into that communion state. Practice reminding ourselves every day, God is bigger than anything in its way. I am an emanation of God. God created me. God designed me for growth and goodness. We have to practice it every day. There's not one single thing we can do one time and be done and just never do it again. And it will work for us for the rest of our lives. Okay? You all brushed your teeth this morning. You're not done forever. You're not done forever. Steve and Mirabai did not write their beautiful songs this morning before they came over here. You didn't just pick up that guitar today, right? Right? Or xylophone. You didn't just start playing xylophone today. Practice, practice, practice. But I promise you, I do promise you this. If you practice it every day, it gets easier and it gets bigger. And you can, when I practice this in the morning, I get to a high state. I'm just crazy. It's wonderful. So we get in communion with God within us. We see that life that we want to create, and that's connected to our new idea that we want to implant in our consciousness, and feel it as if it's true. And again, you will be amazed at how amazing it feels to be in this communion with Spirit, feeling something new as if it's true. You'll feel it. You will feel it. You'll accept that new idea about yourself. You'll accept it into your consciousness, and you'll find that you are becoming the person who has that life. You're becoming that person. So until next time, remember, you are the activity of Spirit in the body. You are the heart and hands of Spirit in this world. You are a soul designed for growth and goodness, and in everything you do, you are blessed. And so it is. So it is. Thank you. Now, Steve and Mirabai are going to do another song for us before we do our offering.